Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So today, in this session, we arranged to get the three Shahada brothers in this session, and we got them with their workbook. So what we're going to do is going to go over a brief Aqeedah class which focus on the aspects of Tawheed. But there's a lot of Islamic rulings in this. There's a lot of things that break down a lot of terminology that we don't fully have the right concept of some of these terminologies. Like, we know the words, like for instance Sunnah, like Aqeedah, like Bid'ah, which I briefly discussed certain things about Bid'ah. So this was a course that was put together by a scholar, and it consists of maybe like 4 books. Definitely Aqeedah at Tawheed is one of them. But anyway, so we're going to try this. This is something I've actually taught 11 people this. I went through it. So, alhamdulillah, man, I'm a little well versed in it, and learning over the years, and the more and more I study, the more and more I start to understand, as opposed to just answering the questions. So the way this course originally started out, and I'm going to read from it. YouTube, y'all just going to have to bear with us because y'all don't have a pamphlet. Not a pamphlet, but a workbook. So we're going to do it a little different. Instead of starting at the beginning, we're going to start at the bottom, because I want to see the academic level of the people that's entering this class. And it's funny, we're going to start at the end, because I know a couple of people who have portions of this, and they feel like they could teach it, right? And think all the answers is just right in there, which let me know they couldn't have went through the whole thing. So that's why we're going to start from the back. So the way this go is, this how it originally was. So y'all turn to page 30, right? Y'all, everybody type in a 7 when you get to page 30. Okay. So on page 30 at the bottom, you'll see where it says, in order to receive the next lesson, you must pass this with a 90 or higher. Once your questions are corrected, if you pass, then you will be sent the next lesson to study. So when I originally did this, that's the way it went. You had to pass the first lesson with a 90 or higher. You can't get no B's. You have to get straight A's. Okay? You have to get straight A's. So it isn't like that anymore. They revised it and just put all the lessons in one book, and kind of switched up the wording a little bit. So, if certain people who really interested in this, I ain't going to put that out there because I don't even want to upset myself with people playing. So like I say, if you pass, you will be sent the next lesson to study. And we ask Allah to aid you in seeking beneficial knowledge which is going to benefit you, instead of knowledge that you can't benefit yourself from. So what is beneficial knowledge? Knowledge that you could put into practice. Not what you know. Knowledge that's going to change your life You understand? Not stuff that you could talk about. So we asked Allah to aid you in seeking beneficial knowledge and learning the correct Aqeedah. So as we scroll up, right, we're going to look at the last question. We're going to start from the last question and go to the first. So this question right here, so some of y'all can see some of the questions in these tests, right? And y'all could try to answer along with them at home. So the Prophet Muhammad told us that there would emerge individuals and sects. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that there would emerge individuals and sects with new or invented beliefs and practices. So we got to remain mindful of that. There's going to emerge individuals and sects, right? Because I love the way they wording this. Because some people might think that they say, well, I ain't part of a sect. I'm just Muslim. Not understand, I just call myself a Muslim. It's really not about what you call yourself. It's about what you believe and what you act upon, which puts you up on a sect. Because you could be a part of that sect and don't even know it. You understand? It's about your level of education. So there's going to emerge individuals and sects. And the individual and the sects, they're going to have new beliefs and practices or invented beliefs and practices. So what are we saying? They're going to be up on some bid'ah or some deviation. They're going to be up on some deviation or some bid'ah. So then it says, so here comes the question. Should a Muslim be conscious and aware of these types of new beliefs or practices? But then it goes on and say why or why not. So I'm going to answer just a little bit of it without giving people full detail. Should a Muslim be conscious and aware of these type of new beliefs? Absolutely. Absolutely. Should we be aware of these types of new beliefs or practices? And just to throw one little thing out there, and not in totality so that you still can have your individual answer. Plus, I like doing this because it's going to make it tougher for you to answer. And by the way you answer, it's going to let me know how well you pay attention to the lesson. And if your answer is going to be full of fluff, saying a whole bunch of nothing, but it sounds like something. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. So, why should we be conscious and aware of these new beliefs or practices? So that we don't fall into them. So that we won't fall into them. The Muslim today, young, middle-aged, old, elderly, a lot of our Islam came to us by word of mouth. And when somebody comes and show us that we up on something that we shouldn't be up on, if we've been doing it for 5 years, if we love the person that told it to us, it's difficult for us to change it. To the point where we will get mad at the Delil. These books ain't right. I don't like the way you proved it to me. Which shows a sick heart. You see what I'm saying? Like some of the scholars of the past says, for a Muslim that's on the haq, all they need is one proof. All they need is one proof to get themselves together. But for the one who heart is sick, you can give them 1,000 proofs and it won't be good enough. So that's one reason why. Yes, you want to be conscious. You want to be aware of these types of new beliefs and practices So that you won't. Why or why not? Why? So that you won't fall into it. So now the question remains, how are you going to be conscious and aware of these beliefs? First and foremost, the first thing you need to do is look at everything you do in Islam with dalil, everything, and then figure out what you up on. So that's question number 5. We'll go to number 4. The Prophet, we're going from the last to the first. In this section, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam learned what to believe from Allah, the Most High, meaning that the foundations for Islamic Aqeedah or revelation from Allah, which it makes clear that revelations from Allah is Quran and Sunnah. So that means what? Quran and Hadiths, right? The Sunnah that got written down, that was put into practice, how the Rasul lived the Quran out. So from revelation, there is that revelation that came from Allah is the Quran and the Sunnah. Should a Muslim take his Aqeedah from anything other than these 2 sources? Now, this could be a trick question. Because, and I'm putting this in, so now what you have to do is explain. Now, individuals who try to teach this and feel like you could go look at this and to get the answers and this and that, some of this you're not going to get from here. You have to be able to grasp the understanding. Sometimes you have to know certain other things and the dalils outside of this to answer this question, these questions, right? So, should a Muslim take his Aqeedah from any other than those 2 sources? Now let's be clear. The Aqeedah, where we have put down, you have to believe in Allah. You have to believe in the angels. You have to believe in the messengers. You have to believe in the prophets. We all know those pillars. Not believing in the existence. It's about believing, having the correct beliefs in what they came from. Because we'll put it in we'll put books, but it really should be translated as revelations, wahi. So in English, we'll put books, and then we'll say this and that, because one thing, if you leave it at wahi, right, the wahi, the revelation, it can't be changed. Books can be changed. So this is why a lot of us is under a false concept that this book that they run around calling holy is from Allah. But we know that's not from Allah because of the revelation. Just like one thing I said in it, anybody familiar with the Songs of Solomon? It's a woman talking about having sex with a man. But a man is supposedly wrote this. Even talking about her vagina getting wet, talking about how they had sex, how he had other women. What that got to do with religion? Why would that come from Allah in a religious book? As where they talk about Jesus, who we try to say is Isa alayhi salam, but he taught the people a prayer. And this prayer was, Our Father that is in heaven. We know Prophet Isa never taught that Allah was our Father or his Father. So this is how you know that stuff isn't from Allah. Is some truth in it? Absolutely. But did that truth that they got in there, did they put it in there after they seen the Rasul and what he was on? When you get into the hadiths and look at the history, you'll see some strange things because Allah is revealing it in Quran al-Kareem. So, should you take the Aqeedah from any other than these 2 sources, Quran and Sunnah? I will say this. Some of the understanding you can take from Ijma. So I'm going to put that in there and say it's a trick question. And I'm saying what I'm saying so that you're going to have to go more in depth in explaining without using anything that I just said. Okay? So making it just a little bit tougher because This is extremely kindergartenish. Right? So we want to make it a little tougher. So 3, having reliable, authentic, and dependable resources when studying and learning Aqeedah is essential because reliable, authentic, and dependable resources when studying and learning Aqeedah is essential because of what? Self-explanatory. So 2, having the proper Islamic Aqeedah and implementing it into our lives is fundamental and extremely important. Even more important than filling our bodies with food and drink. Please explain. Now, like I always advise people, and I do it so that people can see it be done, and as a reminder. Sometimes when you studying and you dealing with things in English, right? Let's look at this. So they use the term fundamental. We know what fundamental means to us, but let's look up the definition and break it down more so you could get more clarity on what it means. So it says having the proper Islamic Aqeedah and implementing it into our lives is fundamental. So instead of changing fundamental, implementing it into our lives is a necessary base or core of central importance, right? A central or primary role or principle on which something is based. So the proper Islamic Aqeedah and implementing it into our lives should be the core and primary principle in our lives. And why is that extremely important? That fundamental, that core foundation, why is it extremely important? And it's even more important than filling our bodies with food and drinks. And please explain. Why is Islamic and why is the fundamental, the core principles of the proper Islamic Aqeedah and implementing it into our lives? So look at the word implementing. If you say I have to believe in Allah, I have to believe in the angels, I have to believe in the messengers, I have to believe in the revelations that were sent down. Okay, now you believe in it. How do you implement those beliefs into your life? And implementing that Aqeedah should be the fundamental, that core principle in your life. How do you take it from belief to implementation? And why is that even more important than filling our bodies with food and drinks? But y'all want a small example? I'm going to say this. One leads to Jannah and the other leads to the hellfire. So we don't want no fluff. One leads to Jannah, the other leads to the hellfire. Right? One, okay, I'm going to give you a jewel. So even more important than filling our bodies with food and drinks. Why is it important? And a form of implement. Right? So when you know that Rasulullah, we supposed to believe in the Prophet, which means we have to follow what they come with, not just believe that the Rasul exists and that he is the Prophet. There's a hadith about filling our vessel, our body. You understand? So one, filling our bodies with food and drinks can be haram. Okay? It can be haram. So when you understand how to implement the proper Aqeedah, then you will know that is more important than filling our bodies with food and drinks, because filling the body with food and drinks can be haram, because we've been instructed a certain portion for food, a certain portion for air, and a certain portion for water. I'll leave that for y'all. But when you explain, you got to do something other than what I just said. But this just giving y'all a tool to work in and put those pieces of the puzzle together, from bringing it from belief into implementation, right? So you come to one. Why is it important from someone who accepts Islam to enter into Islam completely and not pick and choose as to what he or she practices or what he or she doesn't practice from the religion? So, small jewel. So you got to answer that question. One, why is it important? Because Allah Azza wa Jal first and foremost inform us in the Quran as a commandment. When you accept Islam, enter into Islam completely, wholeheartedly. Now, when you try to pick and choose what to follow and what not to follow, then you could fall into the characteristics of the ones who is rejecting Allah's commandments, right? And then with the hadith with the Rasul about the ones that go to the hellfire. Why did they go to the hellfire? Because they refused. What did they refuse? They refused to follow Allah's messengers. So you have some sisters who have issues with real or fake hair. I'm not gonna follow that. And or covering and non-covering. That's not what make you a Muslim. You know, some of the males fall into the same thing. Now, I'm going to say this. Islamically, deen-wise, the sisters I know that do cover are 1,000 times better than the ones that don't cover. See, sometimes people judge off what they may have, or this one may have some characteristics. The one who don't cover may feel like they have some better characteristics. Like they may not cuss, they may not be loud in public. But Islamic wise, deen wise, that one who covers, they really can't touch them. And you will notice the ones who don't cover, they fall into even more things because they want to beautify themselves. They fall into fake hair. They fall into what's an Islamic term called tabarruj. They'll start wearing fake hair. They'll start beautifying themselves. And then we know one thing lead to another. So they might be in gatherings that they shouldn't be in. But I won't go into it. So picking and choosing what you're going to practice and what you're not going to practice can lead to a lot of different things. I don't want to give it all up. But y'all go with... That's just to give y'all somewhat of an example. Because once you do this, it's proven what? That you haven't obeyed the commandment to enter into Islam wholeheartedly. Yeah, I'm going to become Muslim because I got a strong belief. Like how, like a lot of them say, I got a strong belief in God. I have a real relationship with God. And I can't just see myself not believing and being firm in something, but I'm going to pick and choose. And then what I see some of the worst of them do is try to say that Christianity and some of these other religions, like stuff where they make up different things like Kwanzaa and these different Juneteenths. Now it's a little bit of black festivals and this and that. I'm going to pick a little bit of Kwanzaa, a little bit of Juneteenth, a little bit of Christianity with a little bit of Islam and mix it up in a ball. So I'm going to do birthdays because that's from Christianity and celebrating the love for your people. You haven't entered into Islam wholeheartedly. So again, why is it important from someone who accepts Islam to enter into Islam completely, wholeheartedly, and not pick and choose as to what he or she practices or what he or she won't practice from the religion. So now here comes to another section. So here come another 5 set of questions. So that was the last 5. Remember, we started from the bottom up. So this question here, studying Aqeedah is from the most noble branches of Islamic knowledge. Why? So again, being that it's using the term noble branches, we just gonna look at the definition of noble. Belonging to a hereditary class with high social or political status, right? Having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and deeds. So why is studying Aqeedah? Not why is Aqeedah from the most noble branches. Why is studying Aqeedah from the most noble branches of Islamic knowledge? Beautiful. So 4, having incorrect Aqeedah and believing in the wrong things can lead to misguidance and destruction. So explain your answer. How can having incorrect Aqeedah and believing in the wrong things can lead to misguidance and destruction? So explain that answer. So a lot of people who listen to this right now, alhamdulillah, y'all should be writing these answers on a piece of paper. Whether you taking a class, whether you sending them to me, answer them for yourself. Right? This is how you challenge tests before you read the material. And then when you can answer them from this, then you answering them from knowledge, as opposed to, well, the answer right in here, let me just look at it and repeat it. That's when it's on you and not in you. You understand? Now, if you don't and you're struggling with these, then you're going to know, okay, I have to put more emphasis. I don't want to go look for the answer. Why? Because one question is posing us to implementation, about implementing these things and about entering into Islam wholeheartedly. I don't want to just be able to run my mouth. I want to be able to talk it. I want to be able to walk it like I talk it. Because talking it ain't walk. And if you talking and can't walk it, then what they say in the streets, your butt gonna mess around and write a check that your A can't cash. Okay? you gonna put yourself in a position where your A gonna feel some leather, right? So 3, why is it important to have the correct Islamic creed? So why they using Islamic creed and not using the word Aqeedah? Because see, some people will answer this question based off of Aqeedah instead of Islamic creed. Or do you feel like Islamic creed and Aqeedah is the same thing? Maybe I'm just adding a little twist. But note to self. Why is it not saying why is it important to have the correct Islamic Aqeedah? So sometimes it's using Aqeedah, and in this question, why is it important to have the correct Islamic creed? Is there some differences? You know, we all scholars. We all know it all. It shouldn't be not one person that can't answer any of these questions easily. And if you can't answer all of these questions easily without fluff, saying nothing that sounds like something, especially for some of the individuals I know who think they could teach this, if you can't answer this stuff with ease, you need to be quiet. Straight up and down. You need to be quiet. Alright, so 2. What are some of the signs that Allah placed in the creation for us to realize and understand that only Allah deserves to be worshipped? What's some of the signs that Allah placed in the creation for us to realize and understand that only Allah deserves to be worshipped? That's a beautiful question there, Zach. That's a beautiful question right there. So coming into number 1. So this is going to be the 10th question. Islamic Aqeedah has been preserved and protected for over 1,441 years. Some of the tools used to keep it free from changes are the following. So you have to make a list. What are some of the tools that's used to keep the Islamic Aqeedah that has been preserved and protected for over 1,441 years? What are those tools? What are those tools? And then when you figure out what those tools are, then those tools that you need to use to get the job done. And what's getting the job done? Learning your deen. Learning your deen. So this is something that I want people to understand systematically. Systematically, let's have somebody who goes to an Islamic university. Generally, because they had to take an Arabic section, generally it takes them 8 years to get a bachelor's. Some 10. So generally, it's taking them around 8 years to get a bachelor's degree. So systematically, they're going to class Monday through Friday. Of course, they have some school breaks, but generally, they're going to school Monday through Friday for 8 years to learn the religion properly, systematically, in a specific field in order to be able to implement it and teach it to people. 8 years. How long is it going to take us? And we don't have a systematic format to learn it. We might be reading this book. We might be reading that book. We might just read a little bit of this book and put it down and don't finish it. Or we might finish it a year later. We don't have a systematic structure. So this can put you on a path of just having bits and pieces for 20 years, but feeling like you're sufficient because you may know how to pray. You may know how to wudu. You may know how to fast. And the only reason why I'm saying may, because, and I'm going to write this on my board, because this is why I'm saying may. Not saying that it's wrong, but listen. When it's talking about the two sources, right? Do you pray in accordance with the Hanafi madhab or hadith? Huh? Do you pray Maliki or hadith? Huh? Do you pray Shafi'i or hadith? Huh? Do you pray Hanbali or hadith? And worse than that, Do you even know? Do you even know? Do you even know? Are you up on Taqeedah? Which means blind following. Blind following. Are you up on Taqeedah? Do you even know? Now I'm going to say this. When you tell me, oh, well, they all pray in accordance with the hadith. No, we don't want that. We're not talking about some fiqh things because we're going to get to that. Do you pray Hanafi or Hadith? Maliki or Hadith? Shafi or Hadith? Hanbali or Hadith? And then once you figure out which one you pray, I'm going to say, what book in the Hanafi fiqh did you learn to pray from? What qualified Hanafi imam did you learn from? What book in Maliki fiqh did you learn from? What book in Shafi'i fiqh did you learn from? What book in Hanbali fiqh did you learn from? So, do you pray in accordance with hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Wa sahaba? Or do you even know? Or do you have a mixture of all of this? Knowing these things will answer a lot of questions of what's going on with your Islamic creed. Alright? Not your Aqeedah, but your Islamic creed. You heard? So, what's some of the tools that's being used to keep it free from changes in the Aqeedah? So now we go to some basic true and false questions. So here go 10. Number 10. So like I say, these short answer questions are 5 points each. Try to answer each question precisely and with the information contained in this manual. Spelling, grammar, and handwriting all have relation to your points. Okay? So everything we just read was 5 points apiece. Keep in mind, you got to pass with a 90 or higher. So let's go to the easy true and false. Right? Your true and false and your multiple choice. So number 10. Name 6 unique features and characteristics of the true Islamic creed. It's real easy. So we'll go with answer D, just to read it. D. So this is the 6 unique features and characteristics of true Islamic creed, not Islamic Aqeedah, Islamic creed. So 1 is easy to understand. It has been altered. It's based upon people's desires. It's written by monks. And it's changed in Nicaea, basically where the Christians had the Council of Nicaea, or Nicaea, however you say it. And then it's changed in Mecca. Is it answer D? Or is it C? Preservation, simple to understand, in agreement with one's natural disposition and inclinations, right? Basically the fitra. Is it defined permanent and complete, based upon evidence and balance between extremes? Or is it B, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Talha, and Aisha? Or A, Quran, Sunnah, consensus, and Qiyas? So is it A, B, C, or D? Number 9, scholars and people of knowledge can make alterations, additions, or deletions to Islamic Aqeedah. Not fiqh, not Sharia. Islamic Aqeedah. So you have A, false, B, true, C, maybe, or D, sometimes. Right? And let me put this right here because we're going to add some additional homework. So let me write scholars right here. As a matter of fact, let me just put it this way. I want y'all to find the names of 2 scholars. Scholar from the past and present. So when I say present, because they don't have to be alive right now. So when I say present, they've at least lived in the time where we'll go from 1930 to 2024. Right? So scholars, name 2. One scholar from the past, right? We talking about in the early generations of Islam, and no Ibn Taymiyyah, or Ibn Qayyim. You can't put neither one of those 2. And just a real small description of their fields of study, not about their life. What are they scholars of? What are they professionals in? One scholar from the past, one scholar from the present. So we throwing that in as a homework as well. So and the reason why I'm throwing that in, because we're going to start to ease y'all to get familiar with scholars, because right now scholars is being lost. And this isn't an insult, but I had to throw this out. And it's been for years. Right now, sometimes I done sat in the room with 20 people and asked some people, name one scholar. And out of all 20 people, couldn't nobody name one scholar. And that was in 2024. And we talking about grown people, people close to 60, 55, 50, some 20, some 30, some 40, couldn't name one scholar. And that's unfortunate. So the knowledge of the scholars is starting to be lost. So we're going to make sure we know some scholars. We're going to know what's to them, inshallah. And you got to know it. You got to know it. So number 8, Aqeedah is from the creator of mankind, the one who created everything and guided them to that which will benefit them. Is this true? Is it false? A, true. B, false. C, maybe. D, sometimes. Right? Number 7, Aqeedah al-Islamiyah. Now listen to this. Aqeedah al-Islamiyah, then they put in parentheses, Islamic creed, can never be changed or altered. So what's the similarities in question number 7 and question number 9? Scholars and people of knowledge can make alterations, additions, or deletions to Islamic Aqeedah. Then you come to 7, Aqeedah al-Islamiyah, Islamic creed. Notice there's some difference. Can never be changed or altered. A, true. B, false. C, depends on how much money they pay them to change it. Or D, sometimes. 6, what is the technical or religious meaning of Aqeedah? A, beliefs taken from a sheikh. B, beliefs taken from a certain sect. I love this. C, they are principles and fundamentals which a person believes in completely with certainty without having any doubts about them. And D, they are principles and beliefs that one has speculations about. So Is Aqeedah belief taken from sheikhs? Because some people is under the belief system. They may not think it's Aqeedah, but you may have some people who say certain things about Allah that the Rasul and them didn't talk, because this is Tawheed is a pillar of Aqeedah, right? So they may have certain beliefs that come from other people. I'm not saying from the madhabs, but this sheikh said this and this, that Allah is under this form. Allah can't do this. It's impossible for Allah to be able to do this. So what is the technical or religious meaning of Aqeedah? Can it be beliefs taken from sheikhs? Just to throw that tad bit in for those who can catch it and have a better understanding. Number 5, if a Muslim has doubt in his Aqeedah or beliefs, can we call that Aqeedah? The doubts that they have, can we call that Aqeedah? So A, no, they are merely speculating. B, yes, he needs to rectify them. C, yes, he is not obliged to learn his Aqeedah. D, yes, they are true beliefs. 4, what is the root word for Aqeedah in Arabic, and what does it mean? So you got Aqd, which means to join or gather the two ends of something together, or Aql, which means intellect, Asl, which means root or foundation, or D, creed, which means belief, the root word of Aqeedah. Aqd or Aqd, which means to join or gather two ends of something together. So, 3, what should the Muslim heart be filled with? A, music. B, cholesterol. C, the statement, La ilaha illallah. Or D, the statement, Jesus is the Son of God. Now, if you want to say the statement, La ilaha illallah, you're going to have to explain how is your heart filled with that statement. How is your heart filled with that statement? Not just your tongue, not just that's something that the Muslim's supposed to say. How is one heart filled with it? So 2, what is the piece of flesh in the body that if it is healthy, the whole body is healthy, but if it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt? A, the tongue. B, the brain. C, the eyes. And D, the heart. Trick question. Because if your brain is corrupt from this point, if you thinking about a situation the wrong way, you're going to process that thought the wrong way. So if the brain is corrupt, won't it also corrupt the rest of the body? Huh? What about with the tongue? If your tongue is corrupt, how is the rest of your body healthy? Huh? Put some thought into that. Put some thought into that. And then the heart. If the heart is corrupt, doesn't that corrupt everything else as well? Because some people could say, well, my mind had the right process, but my heart was telling me something different. My heart and my mind didn't agree. I felt one thing in my heart. I thought something different in my mind, but what came off my tongue was something else. So do the heart corrupt the mind and the tongue? Trick question. You gotta understand Dalil to answer this. Not just what you heard other people say. Put that into a concept. Why isn't the rest of the body corrupted? The brain is corrupt. Got to put that curveball on it sometime. We want thinking Muslims, man. We want mentally active Muslims, man. You understand? This is how you breed mentally active Muslims. We don't need brain dead, blind, following robotic parrot Muslims. You just robotic. You do what everybody do and repeat what everybody say. No, we want mentally active Muslims, you heard? So, number one, the following is fundamental and essential for the health and strength of the heart of the Muslims. A. Push-ups and sit-ups. B. Eating wholesome food. C. Learning and understanding the proper Aqeedah. D. Learning and understanding the creed based upon people's personal opinions. So is it A, B, C, or D? So, alhamdulillah, so for the ones who, this is the homework, y'all go through this, don't read anything. Answer all the questions with the best of your ability, even if you guess. Okay? Don't read anything. Answer all the questions with the best of your ability. And let's see where you're at. If you can't answer it, then leave it blank. But at least try. At least try. Even if you guess. And then when we come through, we'll go over it. Then we're going to read the material. Right? And then we may be able to add some dalil and different things that may not be in the material to show y'all how you got to be able to expand your knowledge. You got to be able to pull from all the resources, the signs and the symbols. Because we want to do what? We want to bring this into implementation. We want to be able to put this stuff into practice. You understand? We don't want to just be mouth runners. We don't want to be brain dead, robotic, parrot Muslims. Mentally active, thinking, implementing Muslims. So answer all of this first. Then we'll go through the material and come up with some corrections. Don't read the material yet. Then we're going to go through it. And then y'all get a better understanding of what I mean when I'm saying don't read the material yet. Or I'll give y'all one better. Answer the questions to the best of your ability and really put the work in. Put that pain in. And then read the material, but don't answer anything else until I see y'all answers of what y'all tried to do. Now, right now, it's 11:35 where I am. I want y'all to hit me back up. I'm going to give everybody 11:35. Give everybody till 5 o'clock to answer it to the best of your ability. And then go ahead and read it once you get done, but don't answer it. So, no later than 5 o'clock, all of y'all send me y'all answers. Write them down, take a picture of it, right? And then send it to me, and then I'll blow it up, and then I'll take a look at everybody's answers. But make sure, like you don't have to write down the question, but by your answers, so even with the true or false, this only with the true or false or like the multiple choice. Just put what number it is, and then write down A, B, or C, and then go like that. You don't have to write your answer down. Just put like number 1, and then put whatever you think the multiple choice answer is, and then I can look at the material and see what it is. That'll save y'all some writing, and save all your writing for those those questions past the multiple choice. And by 5 o'clock, and then we're going to come back for the late night session and we'll read the material. We'll read the material and go through it like that. So, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And do what y'all got to do, man. And then we'll get back to it. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to hurry up and I'm going to try to get this put up so y'all could go through and y'all got, what is 11:30? So you got 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. You got 5.5 hours basically. This look like it's going to be about an hour long, so y'all could go through, listen to some of this. Don't forget this. Y'all got enough time to find 2 scholars, one from the past, one from the present. And being that y'all in the same city and y'all could chop it up, I don't want any of y'all to have the same 2 scholars. And this is going to force y'all to do the work together. So we should have what? 6 scholars. 3 from the past, 3 from the present. And just you ain't got to say where they went to school. You can if y'all want to. But what are they a scholar of? If they're a scholar of fiqh, if they're a scholar of hadith, if they're a scholar of Aqeedah, just figure out what they're a scholar of. If you want to add something extra to it, go ahead. So I'm going to see y'all later, man. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.